Hello and welcome back to Four Times in a Podcast. You join us on Thursday the 15th of May. Since we've been on, Celtic have had two more victories in the league as they round off the campaign. Just one game ago on Saturday at home to St Mirren. The first of the games saw Celtic win 3-1 against Hibernian, coming from behind, and then last night we had a very impressive 5-1 victory at Pittodrie with a much changed team. So we'll just sort of talk about what happened in the two games. I know this end of the season people's know after deep analysis, but I think the two performances from the team deserve us to be on and give them a bit of praise for keeping the intensity up. And then we'll obviously have a wee look towards Saturday as well. It's myself, Darren, and I'm delighted to be joined by Tony and Danny tonight. And Tony, I'll come to you. As I say, this end of the season, we're usually no caring. I know in the past we've been quite slack and not really covering these sort of games, but on Saturday, I thought we were very good. Hibs, obviously, I know they secured third place last night, but they were still going for it and they took the lead. And I thought Celtic responded. I know there wasn't maybe as much rotation as people wanted, but I thought the team played very well and then carried it on in there last night with 8 changes to that team, and that really was a sort of second look Celtic, I think, apart from maybe your Cal McGregor and a couple others that might be round about a cup final team. The rest was just pure people who you wouldn't expect to be in the starting lineup come a week on Saturday. But what was your thoughts on the two games and our 8 goals from Celtic?
Really impressive. I mean, I think me and you maybe both. I don't know if it was me and you or me and Dan. No, Danny predicted we would batter Hibs, and he was a lot closer than me and you. I think he says a draw, and I just thought it'd be one of the typical end of season games where they're going for it, and we're pretty relaxed and just trying to make sure we don't get an injury. But I thought we were excellent. I think looking at the stats after the game, we well deserved the win, and I think I could be wrong. Sure, I'll get corrected if so. Hibs have lost 4 domestic games since December, and 3 of them have been against us. So I was delighted to see he's still putting in a good shift. Obviously, Kuhn, it was good to see him getting a goal. Fuck, I was in the pub watching it, so my memory's not too good about who scored. That's terrible. As always, excellent professionalism for 4 times.
Kuhn and then Adam Eder put us ahead just before half time, and then Real Hatate get the third.
God, I've no recollection of the Hatate goal. Oh no, I have. It was a good finish into the corner. Delighted that we managed to get 3 points and avoid any injuries that game. I think you want to be getting into a cup final with a sort of level whereby you're still performing well. I think it's interesting when you look at the conflicting last 2 results between us and Aberdeen. Aberdeen get battered 4-0 by Rangers. I think it was 0-0 at half time in that game. And we obviously went up there and tanked them last night as well. And as you say, the starting 11, it might just be Callum McGregor that starts the final. Obviously, that depends on how Hatate gets on. So really good, and I think that's what Brendan Rodgers is all about. He's very professional, and I think that's the kind of performance he's expecting. Whether the league's won or not won, he's still wanting to perform well, and I guess that's it. You want to break these records. We're sitting on 111 goals, which is brilliant. I think massive Celtic fan Ian Crocker last night says that it's the first time since the 70s that 3 Celtic players have scored 20 goals in a season. I'm sure that's obviously Kuhn, Ida and Maida, which is brilliant. I was glad Big Ida got on the score sheet later on. I think the story of the last 2 games probably be Johnny Kenny getting a goal. And a great header, by the way. And I thought he looked lively. I thought he looked alright at Ibrox as well. So I'd definitely be starting him on Saturday, I think, and giving him a run out. He might yet play a part in the final. So he's definitely somebody I want to see more of. Happy for Big Naroki, the kind of forgotten man. Again, another good header. I still don't know why he's been ousted for so long. I don't see a massive difference between him, Scales and Trusty, to be totally honest, which is probably not a good thing, but hopefully Vickers is okay for the final. But Yang as well, there's a kind of a come and go with Yang. You could probably find me saying in a podcast a few months ago it's not going to work for him, then you see him and you go, fuck, it could work for him. So I think Yang's definitely worth another look and another pre-season with Brendan for sure. Forrest I think's been pretty good as well. He's done everything but score, which was costly for me because I was waiting on him to score last night. You hope he gets the goal. I mean, every week I bet him thinking we're going to get a penalty, but we've not even come close. I don't even think we've had a penalty shout. So hopefully Saturday's his day. I would say he's a nailed on starter for Saturday against St Mirren when we lift the trophies. I think 2 really good performances. Unexpected. I didn't expect us to batter Aberdeen. I was hoping for that, but I was hoping we would have battered them before they sold all their tickets, but they've already sold all their tickets, so that was quite unfortunate. But I'm sure their fans will be quite disappointed seeing them go up against their second string. I don't know Aberdeen's first 11. I know Kevin Nisbet's probably a part of it, but I don't know if that was their full 11. But it was a poor showing for them. They looked very weak, and I think he could have been more. I thought we were going to put 6 or 7 past them. So, and they should have been down to 9 men. The boy Booty Tatati. So obviously we hope he's all right, but. I think no, it's just Saturday's a party. Obviously, Glasgow City Council said don't go to Trongate. They've given us a right good 48 hours notice, which was utterly ridiculous and extremely stupid. But I'm sure the party will continue all around Scotland and the world where Celtic fans are. I'm sure they'll be having a party on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to it myself. So, Saturday's a party, and then 9 days for us is a massive game. Just can't really see how important it is, and I think it is important to remind people, and I'm sure we'll do a big build up to it, how rare trebles actually are, despite the fact we're going for 6 and 8 seasons or whatever it may be. I mean, prior to that, we had over 100 years, we only 3 won. So, I'm really looking forward to the next couple of weeks, and I just hope we can get the treble and then enjoy the summer.
Definitely would be the perfect way to round off the season and go into another summer with Brendan. Danny, I'll come to you. As we sort of mentioned there, 2 really impressive performances. Tony's touched on the goal scoring. I think you put up the stat a few weeks ago about how many players had scored double digits. Yeah, Tony correctly mentions that Adam Ida joined players that we've got that have scored 20 this season, so it's another really impressive stat. And then just the team in general, I was reading on the huddle board today that's us now on 111 league goals, and we're only 6 away from taking the record on its own, which is currently held by Willie Maley's 1915/16 team. So if we can rack up the goals against St Mirren, this team really could be record breakers. I'm sure they're on the verge of scoring the most goals at Celtic Park in a league season as well. So just really, it just underlines how consistently good this team have been at scoring goals.
Aye, and you've got goals all throughout the park. I mean, there's 3 of the players that you say are in their 20s. I mean, but it's Maeda 30 odd, Kuhn's 20 odd, and he does it 20, so you're talking 70 goals, nearly 80 goals between 3 players. And then you've got the rest that are in double digits that are adding on. So we've got goals across the whole team. Even last night, it was 5 different scorers, I believe, if I can get my facts right. But just they've been a constant threat the whole season. Even in Europe, they've scored plenty of goals as well in the Champions League. So it's been a really positive season. It's Celtic, we're about to go for a treble, of course it's been, but there's a lot of talk, still a lot of talk about Brendan's team being quite boring, but I think between like August and February, I think 9 weeks out of 10, we were probably much, much better than we've been in recent years. So, it's been really positive, and I think like last week and last night against Hibs and Aberdeen, I think you see the players are playing with a wee bit of freedom. Some of them, of course, are in there trying to show Rodgers that they've got something about them. I thought Yang was just unplayable last night. I thought he was outstanding. Every time he get the ball, he did something positive with it. Even the way he carries the ball, he looks like he's filled out a wee bit. And he's got his head up there, and he's starting to look like he's putting some things together. And I know he's been here for 2 years, and that you're waiting on him kicking on, but he looks like he's finally set. Rodgers obviously sees something in him because he's persisted with him for 2 years. He's brought him in. He's brought him on an awful lot, and when we've needed a winger, he brings him in. And I don't know, Yang, he's one of them. I just think he's dead endearing. I'd love him to do really well because I can't help but like him. I don't know what it is. I just can't help but really want something good to happen for him. And I thought he was brilliant last night. I thought Forrest was great as well. Every time he ran up to that shinny, he went by him. I thought it was as if Shinny wasn't there. Thought McCowan took his chance last night. It was a great goal that he scored. It was a really great move. And Kenny, like Tony said, I thought Kenny looked really bright. And his runs were really positive. I think he made 4 or 5 really good runs. And some of them get spotted, some of them didn't. But I think he's just something different. Obviously, you want us to go out and get a striker in the summer. In an ideal world, Kenny probably wouldn't be getting much of a look in. But if that's what you're going to get from him when he does get a look in, then it's a positive. And maybe he can kick on. He does obviously come on and scored as well. Who else? Bernardo impressed me last night. He impresses me every week, I think. But I feel sorry for Bernardo because it seems like he's the odd one out in that midfield. I think he shouldn't be out the team. But yeah, who do you drop him for? And I just think he's brilliant. And the Rocky as well. Like, the Rocky's never let us down. There's obviously something going on. Rodgers obviously doesn't fancy him. There's nobody that could play scales for a full season and turn around and tell you that he fancies the Rocky. So for whatever reason, I mean, I think what was it? Can't remember if I'd heard before it was fitness issues or something. He couldn't last a full game, but I think I think he's lasted 90 minutes every time he's played. I might be wrong on that, but probably him. But again, hardly let us down. Good goal last night, and but I was really impressed with the young boy Mikado last night as well. I thought he looked really nifty and bright, positive. Even, you're coming on, you're 4-1 up. The other team have chucked it, they're down to 10 men, of course. You're going to get a bit of freedom, but I was really impressed with his decision making and his passing, and he was really unlucky with that shot. But I don't think, as Tony said, I don't think Aberdeen were up to much last night. I don't know if it was the full team or whatever. I know most of the starters were actually playing, but I know that Shinnie was in midfield and things like that. And obviously they'll be right up for it next week, and it'll be a lot tougher game. But I thought Aberdeen looked really, really tired last night after we looked fresh. And I know we made 8 changes, but I thought our team looked really fresh when Johnson came on. I know he was just getting half an hour in the legs, but I thought he looked really, he looked fitter and he looked stronger than everybody else on the park in an Aberdeen jersey. I don't know if that bode well for the cup final, that maybe Aberdeen are on the way down. I'm sure they'll muster up a performance in the cup final, but I just thought last night was great. It was great to score 5 goals. And I said before the game in the chat, it reeked when we went to Hibs under Angie, I think they get beat 4-2 or 4-3 or something. I mean, it was a bit of a mad game, but last night we were totally professional. We never looked like no winning by a few goals. It was in the cards the whole night. And he says done 6 off the record. I mean, I wouldn't want to put it past Celtic, even if Rodgers was to play a kind of a weaker side ahead of the cup final. I still wouldn't put it past him scoring 6 goals on Saturday against a St Mirren team that are probably just about chucked it.
Aye, 5 to equal it and 6 to take it as their own, so I'm sure it's just probably the type of thing the players can talk about at this end of the season when it gives them that extra bit of motivation, because there's been a lot of discourse probably from us as well and other podcasts talking about how good is this Celtic team. They can put themselves in the history books and let their stats do the talking if they go out on Saturday and put on a show. And look, I think St Mirren have got an outside chance catching 5th place, but even if we win 6-4, the players would still get the record, so I don't think they'll be overly concerned. But I thought 2 games. I went to the Hibs game on Saturday, and before it, with that sort of, with the league being done, I wasn't as buzzing for it as I maybe would be, but I thought the atmosphere actually turned out really good, and Hibs came and obviously took the lead, and I thought we played well enough. It was good to see Schmeichel back. He made a really great save. I think it was from Boyle in the first half, and look, it was one of the games that we just did sort of instantly respond. We really seemed to exploit Hibs with that. Their high line. I think Ralston was actually really good at floating balls over the top, and he'd had a few before he managed to finish one, and obviously couldn't get on the score sheet for the first to equalise. I thought Hattati was brilliant. I thought that, we've been critical of us 3, maybe Mel and Andy, who's probably holding a vigil outside Ross Hall now to pray that Hattati's alright for the cup final, but I thought he's been excellent in the last few games. I know there's a lot of talk and a lot of people who sort of assume that he might be off in the summer. I'm at the point where if he'd asked me 3 months ago, I'd have drove him to the airport, but now I'm hoping that he's known, hopefully that he could possibly look at an extension, but obviously that remains to be seen. And then last night I think it was sort of more expected for Aberdeen that we would make these changes, because Brendan's press conference, he sort of mentioned that you learn more about players when they're playing away from home, so I think the fact that he made these changes really, it didn't surprise me as much. Obviously I'm not too sure on Naroki. I think that him and Trusty and Scales are probably no good enough to be starting Celtic centre halves. I think I always hear less about Naroki no letting us down. I think the basics of defending he's pretty decent at, but I think it's quite evident that he does lack a bit of pace, and I don't know, I seen a lot of talk on Twitter and other places about he should be the one starting next to Carter Vickers. I think the fact he's right footed doesn't help him in terms of that he'd be playing the left centre back position if it was him and Vickers, but I just think it's more likely that Scales will finish the season with Carter Vickers, and I think it's pretty annoying that we're going to have to go in our summer probably looking to, we'll probably still try to replace Carol Starfelt in all honesty. But on the positives, I thought, you mentioned that I says to you in the chat early in the first half, I says that Yang's going to be our player of the year next year, and I just see so much in him, and like you said, Danny's just so positive. Every time he goes forward, he's always causing problems for Aberdeen last night, and I think he's got such a great attitude, and he's another one who was wrote off by so many, but I think sort of ever since he scored a goal at Dens Park just round about Christmas time, we drew 3 each that day, but it seemed to be a sort of turning point for him in terms of finally adding goals and assists to his game. And I agree with you, I think pre-season will do him the world of good. There's a lot of talk about Nicholas Kuhn maybe going this summer as well, with the teams interested in him, and I says to you, there's every chance that we could be looking at the likes of Yang and Palma and Forrest as being like our starting wingers in that pivotal playoff that we're going to play in August. So I think it's going to be a big season for Yang. I think he is more likely than most to step up to it, and it'll be really interesting to see how he does next season. I just thought all through the team, Kenny's obviously very raw, but he can see he's got something about him. I thought his header was brilliant. It was great movement to get in front of the defender, and I says before the game I was happy that Rodgers made the changes because I didn't want to sort of risk any of the cup final starting 11 getting injured, and I think that was sort of evident when Yang cut by that Dorrington in the first minute and got wiped out. And then you think you've avoided it until the last sort of couple of minutes when I think what Rodgers gets angry about is I think the whistle's already gone for the first challenge on Hatate, and then that Papagay just absolutely volleys him, and how he stayed on the pitch is beyond me. And it's very rare that you'll see Brendan Rodgers get that angry. He was shouting at the ref, shouting at the fourth official and the linesman. I thought it was a shocking tackle, and I joked about Andy being outside holding a vigil for Hatate, but it would be a massive miss for us in the cup final. We've got players like McCowan and Bernardo who can come in if needs be, but Hatate's been really excellent the last couple of weeks and months of the season. Tony, just before we move on to the St Mirren game, a lot of stick that Celtic get is no gain. Youngsters a chance the last two games. Brendan's looked to Sean McArdle, gave him his debut and then brought him on again last night. I thought, like Danny, I was very impressed with him, and I personally think our B team's not really worth the way we run it, because I think a lot of the players, like the step up from the lowland league's just too big, and I think if you're really that good to get anywhere near the Celtic team, you would be in and about the squad. But I think McArdle does look like he's got that bit about him, and it's somebody that I'm hoping that we do get to see a bit more of towards the end of this season, and then maybe be in the fold for next season. What's your thoughts on the openings that you've seen from him?
Just to get back a wee bit, I thought the fourth official was a total prick. I think he was deliberately trying to antagonise. He was standing right over Hatate and right at Rodgers. If you watched him, I think he thought, this is my moment, I'm going to get in the telly. So I had to get back and point that out. I'd never seen the guy before, but he definitely thought that was his moment to shine. McArdle's been good, he's been solid, he looks good going forward, he looks to have a bit about him. He must, because we don't really give youth a chance unless they're a special talent. I mean, look at Ange gave Ben Doak a bit of a chance, and then Liverpool got him. So for me, again, I keep kind of putting an emphasis on a full pre-season with Brendan Rodgers can only make these guys better. He's a young boy. He's been involved in, obviously, this is the higher end of the league in terms of Hibs and Aberdeen. Obviously, there's no real jeopardy, but you can only hope he can improve. And he's got a good role model in Callum McGregor, James Forrest, even like Sir Alston. Tierney's coming back. These are your kind of core of people that have managed to win a lot of trophies as academy players. So I like the look of him. Rodgers obviously sees something, and I'm all for giving him more game time. And I don't really care what anybody else or any other clubs think about who we play. I couldn't give a shit. It wouldn't matter what we done. They would try and downplay everything. And then if we were to drop a cup, they would say how it's such a big shock and all that stuff. So I would ignore anybody for the outside. But if Rodgers sees something in him, I'd continue to play him.
Definitely would like to see Mary and myself as well. Danny, we'll just quickly touch on Trophy Day. It's this Saturday against St Mirren. I think it's St Mirren that we hosted on the last day last season as well, and it was a quite entertaining game. I think it was 3-2 we ended up winning that day. Palma getting the winner late on. But what's your thoughts on this? Do you think we should go pretty much as close to the cup final team, or would you still be holding a few in reserve just to keep them ice fresh for Camden next Saturday?
I don't know. I mean, it's 6 man off a dozen. If it was up to me, I would probably make another 8 changes, but I think Ida'll probably start. Kenny will probably finish the game. I'd imagine Forrest will get 90 minutes, or if he scores, they'll take him off after that. I'd like to see like McCowan play again, Bernardo, maybe bring Engels in, give McGregor a rest, but then he's a captain, isn't he? So he's going to want to be there with the trophy. He'll probably play Ralston. I don't know is the answer. Like, I'd love to rest everybody, but Rodgers obviously is not going to do that, and it's all about getting through the game with no injuries. But I just get a feeling Rodgers going to send the team out to score 6 goals on Saturday and really go for that record. I think he would love to be able to turn around and say that was his team that have got the record. And they were pretty professional last night, and I thought they went about their job really well, and I can't really see anything else but the same on Saturday. I think I'd imagine the Tatty will not play. I'd imagine they'll just, whether it's a badger or no, I'd imagine they'll just leave him out. I think they'll probably bring Schmeichel back in, seeing as it's the last league game of the season. At home, he'll probably play him. He's not going to play Carter Vickers. He's not going to play. He might bring Taylor back, seeing as it's a Celtic Park. I'd imagine it might be Naroki and Scales on Saturday at the back. But it's just about getting through it, innit, and thinking about next week. I mean, these last games this season, they're a bit of a chore, even though it was a good game last year and we St Mirren were up for it and we ended up, I think it was at Palma scored late on to win 3-2. It's all about getting through it and then having the title party after the game, and you try and make sure you don't get beat, because then it puts a bit of a dampener on it, and then you can go out and enjoy yourself after it. But I would, like, half of me thinks it's going to be a bowler fest, and then the other half thinks Rodgers is going to send them out to try and score 6 or 7 goals, and I really hope it's the latter, because I'll be looking forward to that. But this will be, it's always a great occasion to get the league trophy, and it sets you up, especially if you've got a cup final to go play for as well. It's like you get that wee celebration, and then it's like, right, we've got something else to go for now. And it's Celtic when we want to win everything, and you expect to win everything. It's a great position to have, and I'm sure everybody that's going will have a great day out, and the weather keeps up like it's been. It'll be a fucking great day out on Saturday. I just hope everybody enjoys themselves, and I wonder how they're going to top Santa for last year.
Aye, that's true. It was a highlight of Trophy Day last year, Tony. I know you're out for this one. Are you looking forward to it? And you think, the same as Danny, that Brendan's going to want to immortalise him and his team be gone for broke and gone for that record?
We'll be going for the record. That doesn't mean I don't think you'll make changes or it'll be a weekend side, but whoever's on that pitch will be going for the record, that's for sure. And I think we've got a habit of winning our last day in Trophy Day. I'm sure Ange topped it off with a 6-0 one of the years. I think Ronnie Dyler, he rounded off with a 7-0. Last year was 3-2. Big Angie's last home game in 2023. I can't actually remember what the score was that day, but I think we won anyway. Did we draw? I don't know. Fuck knows. But I think we've got a good habit of rounding off in style, so I've got a rough idea how we'll top Santa Claus when the teams come out with the title. And I guess the last thing I can say is that Celtic really have been simply the best in the league this year.
That would be nice, aye. No, I think it'll be a good game. I think the team will be desperate to get out and they're playing for the rain records as well. They want to be part of record-breaking teams. And Ange's last home game, Tony, was 5-0 against Aberdeen. It was Kyogo with a double, Starfelt and O got a double as well. So 3 players that are no longer with the team, as well as Ange not being at Celtic anymore. So like you say, we have got previous for finishing in style, and I think the team will be going out to do that. As Danny said, doesn't matter who starts, we're pretty stacked in all areas at the moment. I think you probably will see the likes of Casper Schmeichel come back in. I think Forrest will keep his place. Wouldn't be surprised if Taylor comes back in, especially with that we still get that bit of uncertainty about where he's going to be here next season. So I think he's been here a long time. I think they'll want to give him his sort of wee moment in the sun if it is going to be his last appearance at Celtic Park. And then the midfield, you've got an abundance of options. Like maybe they throw young McArdle in, or it might be as simple as bringing an Engels back in. But it'll be interesting to see. And do you know, I quite fancy to. I think we'll match the record. I'll go first with predictions. I think we'll win the game 5-1 on Saturday. I think that Adam Ida will continue his fine scoring streak. He'll get a double. Arnie Engels will get one. Greg Taylor will score, and Johnny Kenny will come off the bench and get his first goal at Celtic Park. Danny, what's your score prediction?
I think we'll smash the record. I think we're going to score 7. I'll go for 7-1, and amongst that will be a hat trick for Adam Ida.
Tony, you go around us off with another mammoth score.
I'll go for 6-2, seeing as we're going for kind of famous score lines. Seeing as I've got my own to be top scorer, I'll just go for Nicholas County to score a 6.
Well, you never know. Gary Hooper got 5 on the Trophy Day one of the season, so it could be done. We'll be back after that one. We'll touch a bit on that. We'll not cover it too much because obviously we've got a massive Scottish Cup final to look forward to as well. So we'll be back to preview that in more detail and hopefully have more a sort of indication about like Cyril Hattati and the other players that have sort of nursing injuries at the moment, if they're looking like making Hampden a week on Saturday. But thanks for taking the time to join us, and we hope you enjoy it. We'll be back at some point next week with a cup final preview, and we'll speak to you then. Hail, hail.